Oh, g'day. I'm Chad from the Beekeeper's Daughters, bees for our next generation. In this clip, I want to take you through the construction of beehives. And behind me here, we've got a pile of woodware and accessories that needs to be constructed, assembled and treated, ready to put bees in the upcoming spring. So let's get into it. Okay, so we have laid out in front of us here all the main components that we're going to need to put together a basic beehive. Starting from this side, we've got the components that we need to make the bottom board or the base of the hive. Now these parts here, the feet, are actually treated timber, but because they're outside the hive, the bees don't come in contact with the treated timber, and they're the part that actually sit on the ground and are able to withstand wet and damp. But that's the only part of the whole hive that's treated, and the bees don't come in contact with it. Then we have all the components that we need to assemble the hive boxes, the brood boxes, the honey supers, etc. They need to be assembled and put together. They are the main parts that need to be constructed. The rest of the basic hive, they come already constructed, but we do need to treat them so that they can withstand exterior conditions, wet, sun, etc. So we've got our queen excluder, we've got our hive mat. This is a sugar syrup feeder that sits on top of the hive. And then this part here, the lid or cover, it doesn't need to have any treatment because it comes as a galvanised sheet metal, so it's fine to go straight outside, and that just sits on top of the hive. So let's start putting our beehive together. Okay, so assembling the bottom board or base. So you now have the bottom or base of the hive, what's called the bottom board, now completed. Treated parts of the hive which touch the ground outside of the hive where the bees don't touch, and the natural pine on the inside of the hive. Okay, so now we're going to put together a hive box. Now you can get different sized hive boxes, half, 3/4, and what this is a full depth hive box, and you can use those different size boxes for various applications. In the case of this hive, we've got a simple full depth, which is what you use for brood, and we'll also be using full depth for the honey supers on top. So we're going to be making a whole lot of these boxes, but let's start with one. And it's really important that these front and back of the box, you make sure you got the rebate at the top, because this is later on, a bit further down the track, this will be where we build the frames and they sit in here, the top bar of the frames nestle down into this rebate. So it's really important that that's the top of the box, and you've got those on both sides, and the handle on the other side is at the top as well. So we now have a full depth brood box assembled. Handles front and back, rebates at the top for the frames to sit into, ready to go. You'll now see that when we put our assembled box on top of our newly assembled bottom board or base, we've got these bits of timber all around the sides and the back, except the front, and when these two are together, they form the entrance of the hive. We're just going to fill these screw head holes to ensure that these boxes remain in good condition and strong and have a long lifetime. So here we now have our basic beehive constructed, assembled, ready now to treat the outside faces, the exterior of the hive, so it's ready to be put outside, and these boxes are now ready to have their frames put in. So the frames still need to be assembled, which will be another video because they take a lot of work to do and construct. So we've got our bottom board, our brood box, potentially our honey super. In between these two is a queen excluder. We've got our top feeder, our hive mat, and then we just have our cover that sits over top of this. So there's the construction of a basic beehive.